Did you know the famous Versace Medusa isn't just a random mythological figure? Every luxury logo you wear tells a secret story. These billion-dollar brands have planted mysterious symbols right under our noses, but most people completely miss the true meanings. Like, did you know one of these was bought for just $35 and is now worth billions? Or that another one was literally designed in 5 seconds flat? And stick around until the end, because the #1 logo on our list might explain why you can't stop buying designer stuff. It's literally designed to hypnotize you. No, seriously. Today we're diving deep into the top 10 fashion logos with the hidden meaning. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll either feel really smart for knowing all these secrets, or really poor for realizing how much you've spent on these brands. Maybe both. Let's dive in. 10. Louis Vuitton, the Imperial Connection. Ever wondered why counterfeiters love LV so much? Well, they've been at it since before your great-grandmother was born. Picture this. Paris, 1896. Georges Vuitton is sitting in his office, probably sipping wine, because, France, when he notices something infuriating. Knockoff Louis Vuitton bags everywhere. But instead of posting angry tweets, because 1896, he did something genius. The iconic LV monogram wasn't just some random design, it was literally designed to be a pain in the neck for counterfeiters. Inspired by Japanese mon, those fancy family crests from feudal Japan, George created a pattern so intricate that it would give copycats a headache. And here is the less-known fact. The flowers in the pattern aren't random either. Each one represents different symbols. The 4-petal flower, protection against evil spirits, or maybe protection from fake bag sellers. The circle, perfection and eternity. The star, divine guidance, probably guiding you to the nearest LV store. And here's something mind-blowing. The pattern was so effective that it's still giving counterfeiters trouble today, over 125 years later. 9. PRADA. What do ancient Roman buildings and your overpriced Prada bag have in common? More than you'd think. If Prada's logo looks like it belongs on a Roman monument, that's because it kind of does. The font isn't just minimalist, it's literally copied from ancient Roman architecture. But wait, it gets better. Remember that rope symbol under their crest? That's actually a flex from 1919 when Prada became the official supplier to the Italian royal family. Imagine getting a royal warrant and being like, you know what? I'm gonna turn it into a logo detail. That's some serious Italian swagger. The really funny part? When Mario Prada started the company, he didn't want women involved in the business at all. Plot twist. His daughter Luisa, and later his granddaughter Miuccia, turned it into one of the biggest fashion empires in the world. Sorry, Mario. Little known fact. The original Prada store in Milan's Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II still has the original black marble archway with that same font. It's basically the great-great-grandfather of every Prada logo you see today. 8. Fendi, the 5-second masterpiece. Ever procrastinated on a project until the last minute? Well, this next logo might make you feel better about your life choices. Picture this. It's 1965 and Karl Lagerfeld is probably sipping espresso, because Italy, when Fendi asks him to design their logo. Instead of spending weeks on it like a normal person, Karl literally goes, "Hold my coffee," and designs it in 5 seconds, flat. The double F stands for fun fur, which honestly sounds like something a kindergarten teacher would say to make math more exciting. But here's the kicker. This 5-second doodle became one of the most recognized logos in fashion history. When Karl first presented it, the Fendi sisters weren't impressed, but Karl, being Karl, basically said, "Trust the process," but probably in fancy French. The logo went on to generate billions in revenue. Talk about a return on investment. Fun fact. The logo is actually designed to look good both horizontally and vertically, which was revolutionary for the 1960s. Carl was literally thinking in Instagram dimensions before Instagram was even a thing. Now before we reveal the meaning behind the next logo, if you've ever been personally victimized by designer prices, hit that like button. Misery loves company, right? Now let's get back to the business. 7. Balenciaga. Sometimes the most luxurious things come from the most ordinary places. While other designers were looking at palaces and art galleries for inspiration, Cristobal Balenciaga found his muse in the Paris Metro. That bold, stretched-out font you see on every Balenciaga product, it's inspired by public transportation signs. Yes, that hoodie you paid a month's rent for is wearing the same font that once told people which stop was next. But here's where it gets interesting. Balenciaga, the son of a fisherman and a seamstress, chose this deliberately. He believed true luxury shouldn't just be for the elite, it should speak to everyone. Pretty revolutionary for a luxury brand, don't you think? 6. Yves Saint Laurent. If you've ever thought the YSL logo looks like a piece of art, you're absolutely right. In 1961, graphic artist Cassandre wasn't just creating a logo, he was solving a puzzle. How do you turn 3 letters into something that captures the essence of Paris? Look closely at the intertwined letters. See how they create a vertical line? That's no accident. The logo subtly mirrors the shape of the Eiffel Tower. It's literally Paris captured in 3 letters. But wait, there's more. The way the letters flow into each other? That represents how Saint Laurent blended masculine and feminine styles, something that shocked the fashion world at the time. Now that's what I call hiding a revolution in plain sight. 5. Burberry. Picture this. England, 1901. While everyone else was obsessing over fancy crests and flowers, Burberry chose a knight on horseback? The knight carries a shield and a flag with one word, prorsum, Latin for forward. Why? Because Burberry had just invented something revolutionary: waterproof gabardine fabric. This fabric would later protect soldiers in World War I trenches. So that knight wasn't just a pretty symbol, it represented real protection. From battlefield to fashion field, talk about a glow-up. Now before we decode the next one, here's a quick poll. Which logo do you think is most recognizable worldwide? Vote now! 4. Chanel. Every morning, young Gabrielle Chanel would walk through the corridors of Aubazine Abbey, looking up at the stained glass windows. Those interlocking circles in the windows, they would later become one of fashion's most copied symbols. But here's what most people don't know. Those interlocking C's aren't just Coco's initials. They represent the perfect balance she was always searching for, between simplicity and luxury, between her humble beginnings and her grand ambitions. Some say when you look at the logo, you're seeing exactly what little Gabrielle saw every morning in that abbey. A simple pattern that would one day conquer the world. Remember that $35 logo I mentioned? Its story is next, and trust me, it's worth the wait. 3. Nike. Imagine creating something for $35 that would later be worth billions. That's exactly what happened to Carolyn Davidson, a graphic design student, when Phil Knight asked her to design a logo for his new shoe company. The brief was simple: create something that suggests movement. Inspired by the wing of Nike, the Greek goddess of victory, Carolyn drew that famous swoosh. Phil Knight's response? I don't love it, but it'll grow on me. Spoiler alert, it did more than grow on him. That $35 design became one of the most recognized symbols in the world. And yes, Nike did eventually give Carolyn more compensation, including a diamond ring with the swoosh design. 2. Gucci. Before Gucci was Gucci, young Guccio Gucci was a bellboy at London's Savoy Hotel. Day after day, he watched the wealthy guests arrive with their luxurious luggage. Little did they know, their everyday actions were inspiring what would become one of fashion's most recognizable symbols. When he finally opened his leather goods shop in Florence, he created the interlocking G's, a perfect balance of sophistication and simplicity. But here's the beautiful irony. The logo inspired by rich travelers' luggage would one day become the symbol those same travelers would desperately want on their bags. 1. Versace. And finally we arrive at fashion's most hypnotic logo. When Gianni Versace chose Medusa as his symbol, he wasn't just picking a pretty face. According to Greek mythology, anyone who looked at Medusa would be frozen in place, unable to look away. Sound familiar? Like when you can't stop staring at that Versace display window? That's exactly what Gianni wanted. A logo that would make people stop in their tracks. And just like Medusa's power, once you fall under its spell, there's no turning back. Clever? Yes. A little scary? Maybe. Brilliant marketing? Absolutely. And there you have it. Proof that the world's most expensive brands started with some pretty humble and sometimes absolutely ridiculous beginnings. Next time someone asks why you spent so much on a designer bag, just tell them you're investing in historical art. Works every time. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more fashion secrets to spill. And let me know in the comments which logo surprised you the most. Was it the 5-second Fendi, the rebellious Prada women, or the fact that Louis Vuitton has been fighting fake bags since before TikTok was even a thing?